Yeah.
Love Amplified.
Love Amplified. Oh, good evening, everybody out there. Yes, you are tuned in to Love Amplified. Let me get all these mics on so that I'm not just in silence here. Feel free, everybody in the background, you can make noise if you like. But you are tuned into, and I actually passed the laptop too early because I need it. It's okay. Actually, you keep it. I got it right in front of me.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So, you are tuned into Love Amplified, and Love Amplified is intellectual stimulation for your mind, body, and soul. The love session has ended, and now it's time to increase the intensity and dive deeper into meaningful dialogue regarding the love experience. I'm your girl, Akila Trinae, and today is, I don't know what today is, April 7th. Yes, it's April 7th,
Yeah,
2019. I really can't keep up with the days. Like, I've literally been out of town and back in town and then out of town again and then back in town. And so I'm just trying to, like, get my bearings on everything. I was on spring break. So I'm trying to get my mind right and all of that wonderfulness. So I'm back. I was not here last week, and a lot happened. While I was gone and while I was out, which we're going to get into, and I'm gonna play a little bit. I don't know if this has words or not, but I'm gonna try and have it in the background low while we're talking. But let's kind of introduce everybody and kind of get us going. So I'm gonna kick it over to Tommy. And Tommy is going to tell us about our social media.
Okay, so social media on Instagram, we're at the Love Amplified Podcast. Facebook, the Love Amplified Podcast A. Twitter, at Amplified the. Email, the Love Amplified Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, so make sure that you follow us. Tommy, you can send it to that guy who's next to you.
Oh, hola.
You're that guy.
I'm
You're
that guy.
guy.
What are we
You're
doing
that
here?
guy.
What are we talking about? What are we doing right now?
You tell me.
We are talking about the show. Anyway, I'm Doncho Detroit. It's been a tumultuous week to say the least. And I'm here to tell you what we are talking about today. We have a lovely guest on docket today. And today we're talking about loving and healing, and where do we go from here, and how does the community heal after what's transpired with the murder of the Nipsey Hussle, the great. And so it's going to be a great situation on hand. And so I'm going to swing it to her, I think, to introduce herself.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going we have again.
Well, actually, Skype, you could do that too if
Oh.
you got it in front of you.
Oh, somebody's coming in. So our Skype number is, let me find it.
It's right there. Look in front of that one.
Oh, call in at 323-900-0478. Again, you can Skype us at 323-900-0478. And that's if you want to deal with us live and in charge. We just got the Hustle Man came in, no pun intended, Charles. But, again, so we can get this started, I'm going to kick you off to our lovely guest that we have in town. To my left, young lady, bring yourself in.
Bring yourself in.
Introduce
So
yourself.
you going by Sierra? You going by Miss Black Hollywood?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Miss Black Hollywood.
Okay, we
Oh,
got
okay.
Miss Black
I didn't know
Hollywood
which one she wanted to go with.
in the building.
Hey.
Thank you.
I thought that was going to happen first.
Right.
I was going to slide into it.
Well, I was trying
And
to get.
now presenting
Right.
Miss Black Hollywood. Hey, everybody. What's up? It's Miss Black Hollywood. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. This is exciting.
Well, thank you
I'm always
for coming and being here and being part of Love Amplified. Hoping and wishing it was under, like, I guess happier, or, better circumstances. However, the other part of love is reality and dealing
Facts.
with kind of the realness of
Facts.
what it is. And so today it's not really like a set, like, okay, this is what we got this, solution and all of that, but really just kind of opening up the dialogue. And we know that, we're glad that you're here to kind of like share in that and open up the conversation and give your insight and wisdom.
Yeah, I appreciate that because this is something, obviously Nipsey Hussle is, I've been all on the internet like everybody else all week, just reading. We've been releasing articles on therealnetwork.net. So we are What's Real in Black Hollywood. So obviously like stories and articles and news is our jam. So, I feel like I can contribute to this conversation for sure.
Right. Absolutely. And we also have our resident host, Mr. Charles Handy, in the building. And
hey, here we go. What up, y'all? I just came from a shoot. Shout out to my boy Aunt Rose, Gentleman's Jack.
He came here before, right?
Yeah. So Aunt Rose, he just had a shoot out in this really dope location. It was like this studio, super exclusive. But I was like, I'm gonna edit this project, so it was a collective. It was like some Coogee Chocolate type situation. If y'all know about Kwanzaa, yeah. So it was collective Black unity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Wakanda going on, and you know what I'm saying. So shout out to him and doing his thing, putting the production together, and then also, in addition to that, hiring Black people and you know what I'm saying, young Black professionals just kind of doing their thing. So what's going on, guys? So we talk about Nipsey Hussle.
Your happy anniversary.
Yeah. Oh, happy anniversary right now.
If you want to, I don't have your Flintstones.
You don't have? It's on there.
It's on where?
It should be on or you could YouTube it.
Okay.
Right.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, all right, so forget it. All right, so anyway, so look, we're talking about the internet. All right, so I just looked up some quick dates or whatever. Like I said, I was on the shoot, but they say today in 1969, the internet was born. So April 7, 1969, they said the internet was born. It was like a part of advanced research project, and so the World Wide Web was invented today.
And there's also a piece of it that came from a Black man. He, I don't know the guy's name, terrible, but you just brought it up, so I don't have that download knowledge. But he created the .com portion that allowed it, that allowed us to access and be able to access the internet in the way that we do, or the way that we used to, because obviously it's different now, but.
And I would just say, since I seen the internet jumped out, we're talking about a lot of Black excellence, Black people, and we're gonna be Black love and things of that nature. And so one of the principles of the Black Panther Party, originally set out by the guidelines set out by Huey P. Newton, was that we need to use technology as a part of the revolution. So that was like part of the bylaws of the Black Panther Party, and so they were very like hip to like what technology, media, and things of that nature, and how they knew that was gonna be a platform or a major part of the platform for the revolution. And so we all use the internet. I see, Miss Black Hollywood. We're actually streaming on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Right. So shout out to the internet. Shout out to social media. Shout out to us connecting. And and so back to the Nipsey Hussle. I think because, and then tie this all in, is that the internet, this has been on all of our minds, but I think that it's because of the internet too. It allowed us to actually see the murder and to see the viciousness of the murder. Yeah. And I think that also has affected a lot of people too, because of the fact that, when you say, oh, this person got shot, like, Detroit, for example, people just say, oh, yeah, I got shot, or, oh, such and such got shot or something. And you just like, you don't really have that same connection to it because you don't see it. Or, yeah, man, my man got shot. And then you just hear like, oh, niggas get shot every day, B. People say that. Right. And then you just like, it doesn't necessarily register the same way.
Because you're desensitized?
Yeah, we're super desensitized through TV, through movies, through the internet, once again. And But
through
then
just living in certain
just
places,
living,
and,
just
and
living
seeing
life
it
and
it
seeing
being
it for your
normal,
own.
you
Yeah,
know.
being it's normalized. But then when you see, you're just like it's just such a clear picture painted. Or people say gang violence, right? And then you hear that word a lot. You say like gang violence. Oh, this is due to gang violence. Or there's a lot of gang violence. Or there's just these words, right? You just hear words, and then the thing is, you don't even know like the these words, and then you see it. Like now we could actually see like this isn't just this isn't just gang violence. Like this is like some other. It's like demonic or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
When you said that, it almost reminds me of when, and I believe it was the Vietnam War. And you all can correct me if I'm wrong. These random just bits and pieces of information just drop in my mind. But when they begin to televise it, where people were able to see it, because like when we talk about war, it's like, oh yeah, people fight war and war is necessary and X, Y, and Z. But once people were able to see the images,
or the civil rights, see the
children dying, and see the soldiers being wounded and them coming back
It was
or
Pearl
going
Harbor
in.
for me when I saw that.
But when they started to show that and you were able to see it visually on television, that's when a lot of people just really were super just affected.
The same way with the civil rights movement, when they eventually were able to get like the hosing and things like that nature on film finally,
right?
Like in pictures and videos, that actually changed a lot of people's opinions, because you hear about segregation and how it's affecting us, but when you're actually able to see like people being dehumanized. So but I would say this, on the way here, I kind of just had this epiphany, and it's funny because I don't know why, but the last time that I checked song, it just keeps getting me like emotional. Like I keep almost like breaking down and crying over it. All right, I break down over that song. It's like a weird. Is this like out of all his songs or something? You know what I'm saying? Like that song. Last time that I checked, that's a song that gets me. Like hits me for some reason, but I think it's a lot of facts that he's just saying in that song. But I would say that the epiphany I came up with on the way here, thinking about this whole situation, is like I feel like I feel like we gotta drown out the hate. Like I feel like this situation makes people like myself, people that are that can influence their own neighborhoods, like almost makes us want to like back off. And like be like, you know what? I'm gonna find me a new community of people that's like-minded, and if black people happen to be there, good. But if not, you know what I'm saying? But it almost makes me. But I feel like we should love each other more. Like I feel like the only way that you can kind of combat that kind of hatred
Love conquers hate.
Yeah, kind of thing. I know it's cliche, but it's a situation where we almost gotta.
So what does that look like, or what does that
like
mean
double down,
exactly?
triple down on love, on embracing our brothers and sisters, and see where that takes us. And that's the only thing I can think of is just just being more loving, being more caring, being more not necessarily accessible directly. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that that's the solution. You know what I'm saying? But just doing what Nipsey is doing, but continue the marathon, as he would say. You know what I'm saying? Like keep the marathon going.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with you. Like,
so we got to shut down the marathon.
No.
Stop
Not
running
what part of you?
altogether.
No.
Stop running.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I hit
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Not on that part. On the part of everybody's trying to paint the narrative like we can't go back to the hood and give back to that's not what happened. We gotta sit there and take it for what it was.
What was it? Tell us what it was.
Cause I love Nipsey. I met him personally. I have nothing but love for him. And if you listen to his raps, if you ever met him, he'll even tell you he was a gang member.
Right.
And he died within the war. It just so happens that he became on the come up and he had the money. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he still died in the struggle.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we need to do is look at this and take it as a lesson. Let's stop killing each other. Let's stop taking this gang violence and taking one another out and get mad when police kill us.
But
We're not doing that though.
To take away the gang element of it, I still had as a person,
It
as a
wasn't
young
hate to me. That wasn't hate. That wasn't hate at all. That was personal.
Hate is personal.
No. What I'm saying when I say hate, it wasn't jealousy. I don't feel like he was jealous of him. I don't feel like nothing. Because if he was jealous of him, he would have took him out a long time ago.
He was in jail, wasn't he?
Well, he did.
He was in jail and then got out of
He's
jail.
been in-
And
right,
then
right.
But if you go back to listen to what the people were saying when he got out of jail, he nip checked him when he was in the store.
Right.
So nip checked him. You a snitch. Yada yada yada. Those are gang. Those are gang. That's gang language. You get what I'm saying? We get that language from gang culture. So basically that tells me because Nipsey told him don't come back until you get your paperwork. So if you were just running your business as a businessman, you're not gonna care who comes in your store, a snitch, a gay person, whoever. You're not gonna care because you're running your business. You guys follow me?
No, I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you can't, especially in that element, like to be labeled a snitch in any situation in that environment. Like being a snitch can have repercussions on your family. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
If you're in a gang member, it's approaching your respect, which you know what I'm saying. You can't be a gang member and being labeled a snitch because now you can't be on any more projects, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, even though
You're messing up your money.
yeah,
you're
even
messing up
you know what I'm saying,
everything.
like that's your livelihood. The minute you be called to become a snitch, and so because I heard he had been in the store twice that day too. So if that was the issue, and it's like, look, man,
What do you mean twice?
That they have like he had been in the store, they
Prior.
talked, came back, talked
Left
again.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the third time when he came back,
because all I know is the dude was like his homeboy that wears a cowboy hat. I don't know his name, but he was just saying that he was like, oh, I was going to get. We both there's a burger spot right next to the
Master
store,
Burgers.
and then he was like, oh yeah, I was we were both getting our food around the same time. And I got my food, went inside 3 seconds before homeboy came back. But so whatever. Clearly, whatever.
Because honestly,
you know
when I heard about everything, in my mind, I was like, I don't really believe he came out and was like, I'm sorry, sir, you need to go somewhere. Like, I really felt like
Facts.
it was,
Facts.
on exactly what you were talking about. However, I want you to be able to finish your point as far as, because I know you were respectfully declining to Charles, but with what the role is now, because you were, I don't know if you finished your actual
what I'm trying to say is,
because I'm with you and I'm with you. So go ahead.
So what I'm trying to say is, we're not taking this as a lesson. Like, let's just cut out all this gang culture and stop killing each other. We're trying to paint a narrative that this man came and shot him because he was jealous of the money he was putting in the neighbor. I don't believe that. I believe
the whole conspiracy.
The whole conspiracy. I believe he shot him because it was gang violence. It was gang violence, and we're not taking the time to sit there and think like we've been killing. This stuff happens every day.
Right.
Somebody died in gang violence today. They just didn't have the same
right,
name
right.
that Nipsey had.
Absolutely.
So people are not taking it. Everybody's taking he killed Nipsey Hussle. He killed Nipsey Hussle. But somebody lost their son today. Somebody lost their mama today. You know what I mean? And I think, and I praise
due to gang violence.
And I praise Nipsey Hussle's grandmother. If you guys watch what she said, you can tell what she said.
What did she say?
I can't quote it well because I don't want to misquote her. But you can tell that she already had it in her mindset that like this is the life that my grandson lived.
She knew that ultimately.
If you listen to his lyrics,
he talks about it.
And one of the thing is, if you backtrack through everything he said, he's already quoted his death twice, at least twice.
Facts.
At least. And when I say quoted, I'm talking about verbatim. You know what I'm saying? Which is very scary. But then in one of his lyrics, it might be in the Hustle Way or whatever, he talks about like I'm a gang and I know the job that I signed up for.
Right.
That's in paraphrasing. Like I'm a die in these streets, but I know the job that I signed up for. And he said, he goes from selling grams on Gramercy to something I can't remember it. But then he just ended up changing his lane so that he could he wanted to be a bigger he never wanted to stop gangbanging. He just wanted to give another perspective to those that were saying like you could start here but you don't have to end here. Kind of like I kind of look at it as in like the blueprint,
like legitimizing. So to y'all point, like say for instance, you take Killer Mike and what's the trigger? The trigger. What's the thing? The Netflix series.
His trigger.
I think it's Killer Mike. It's called Killer Mike.
No,
something.
trigger warning or whatever.
Trigger
Yeah.
warning.
Is it?
Trigger.
No, it's not. We saying the name wrong. Google. Yeah,
But
yeah, we
whatever.
need
But we know what
Akila.
you're talking about.
So I'm saying so.
What we know what you're talking about.
Help me.
So we got Killer Mike, and he was talking about all the businesses and
Yeah.
enterprises that came through American
Yes.
the
Oh, yeah, I
process,
watched that.
and then and that's why he was trying
Trigger
to make
warning.
trigger warning,
Right.
and he was making Cripicola, and he
Yeah.
was just like, look, all these businesses that we all celebrate. I mean, if you really want to go back, there's businesses that have like Holocaust ties that came up off of that. There's businesses that have prohibition ties that came across that.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's businesses that are thriving, Fortune 500. You know what I'm saying? That have a lot of blood
whole
and
country
history.
was
You get
built
it?
on
Built
blood.
on, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm saying in American tradition. You can't just say you can't. We just can't just look at. Let her get this commercial off.
keep
No, you
going.
can't hear
Keep
it. Yeah. So
I
so
got it.
no, yeah, I got you. But so you just can't discount our legacy. If he came up in a cycle of the Crip, whatever lane or whatever,
Right.
and that's how he was able to see the
'Cause
how
Snoop
to
did
organize.
The same thing. Snoop does the same
Yeah.
thing.
See, I mean, what I'm saying is creating What I'm saying is, look, we are
Got me
we
like,
might be black, we might be inner city, whatever you want to call
Right.
it, but at the same time, what I'm saying is if he learned how to be a quote unquote gang leadership, and learn how to, if you could sell kilos of dope, you could sell
CDs.
millions of dollars of CDs and merchandise. You get what I'm saying?
I'm
But
getting
now,
what you're saying.
but
Business.
now you learn how to create enterprise that you go from illegitimate business to legitimate business, as in the tradition of many businesses and organizations in this history of this country that
right.
we all respect and purchase
Right.
their stuff today. So what I'm saying is we just can't just go and say, well, he's a gang member and gang member
that's
stuff
not-
happen.
no,
You
no,
get
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Nipsey said this. He said this in his own right. If you actually really listen to him and listen to his music from back in the day, that's basically it's the life I chose. He said the nigga that'll smoke you is the same nigga I smoke a blunt with, and that just so happened to be his homeboy.
That I'll smoke a blunt with that'll point blank. That'll kill you at point blank.
He
range.
said that.
He
But
says that.
But that's his reality
No,
too.
Right.
But
So that's what happened to him. That's all I'm saying. That's what
So
happened.
he's prophetic. So where I think he's trying to get to the point to where his grandma is a little sooner where everybody like his grandma was gonna grieve because she lost him, but because it was coming up, like she's probably gonna celebrate him more faster than we will coming out of grief and others.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's
She
the like
understood
yeah,
what
like
the
he-
situation
like yeah,
was.
I'm sure she tried to talk him out of it 1,000 ways, but he's like, this is my plan, this is my mission. I just don't think he ever wanted to be pigeonholed into one thing, or more like I look at it
But
like
that's what I'm saying. How
if
can
Nipsey
they how can they go from starting from one lane and then also
because
taking
you
that
Can't
lane
have
and-
one foot in and one foot out. I can tell you that right now.
So look, yeah, which I do think that was the case, but I think let's take him and Jay-Z example, right? Same people take the blueprint, right? Take the blueprint to Nipsey's The Hustle Way. Same exact thing, except for when Jigga eventually moved himself away from the hood where he no longer stayed in the Marcy Projects. He rebuilt and revamped them, but he's not
there
living
Yeah.
there
Right.
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And if you listen to LeBron's interview, he's like, you know, he's essentially saying like, I'm from Cleveland, but I don't live in Cleveland like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't stay in the heart of where I came from. You know what I'm saying? And Nip's agenda seems to be he wanted to make this place a beautiful place. Because the one thing I've always
and it's becoming a beautiful
No,
place.
right? But the one thing,
Oh,
It's,
yeah,
it's
it's revamping.
you get what I'm
You know
saying?
what I mean?
Like, and that's also due to him, not just him personally, because it's
Yeah,
great
it
land,
takes a
but
while.
it's he was doing the right stuff, meaning starting his own businesses, meaning his entrepreneur. What I'm saying
His
is,
entrepreneurship,
his entrepreneurship to me was on par for what he should have been doing.
Right.
As far as being able to hire people who are felons, who are past felons, who
That's
are
what he was doing.
I have a
legitimate,
question.
given
I'm
legitimacy.
gonna throw a monkey wrench in there, and please don't think I'm disrespecting this man, but we got to take it for what it is. If last year when he slapped old boy at the BET experience, the way he slapped fire out of him, if old boy would have came back and did the same thing, old boy
Clapped him?
clapped him,
Yeah.
what will we be saying now? Will we still
That
be?
still was OD because dude actually I seen the whole thing.
But he's
the
feeling
dude-
like it would have been more justified
Well,
because he was more disrespected.
what I'm
openly.
saying is that last
We
year
just
I
need to
seen
stop. That's
if
what
you
I'm
see the
saying.
if you see the tape, dude was kind of being an aggressor in a situation with an artist that was trying to get to a performance at the BET. And actually, I was telling my wife this. I've had interactions because the thing is, a lot of times with BET, when you have these award shows, they end up hiring a gang of security that don't even be regular security people there. It just be like the day player kind of people, and then they start being they don't know how to properly address the situation, so they might be more aggressive
Right.
towards you when it's just like, hey, move the cone, I gotta get here. He might not know who Nipsey Hussle was, but Nipsey Hussle is performing. Like, move the cone and let my car through. I'm not just a regular
I feel
car.
what you're saying, but Nip, you gotta let your security handle that.
Yeah, but the dude started getting at his security and being aggressive.
I hear what you're saying, but Nip, you the artist. You gotta let your security handle. That's what you paying this man for.
Yes.
Well,
So-
I think that there's so many negative. So I've heard all of the things, and you know, a lot of these conversations I've had this week, and I agree. Oh, go ahead. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I got cussed out. There's like 300 messages when I was like, "This is why police kill us, because we don't value our communities." The same kinds of conversations, but I think just taking it back, trying to unpack everything that's been said. I'll start with the Crips were created, or gangs were created, out of the demise of the Black Panthers. So let's start there. It wasn't like a negative thing. I've seen
Right,
Crips who have
right.
built
Right.
the communities, have been the ones giving out food and shelter and supplying all types of things for the community. Somewhere in the Matrix, we got it backwards.
In the
what
80s, yeah.
what the purpose with crack coming into our communities and all of the
COINTELPRO.
things. COINTELPRO, all of those things really contributed to our communities just being run down and people forgetting what it was about. So if to me, it felt like Nip kind of picked that torch up. Crip wasn't about killing another person.
Right.
It was about taking that
Right.
old school Crip
Yeah,
spirit, whatever, and,
Well-
and kind of applying it, regardless if it was making it positive. Like you said, Cripicola, those Crips weren't out here trying to kill people. They were changing the face of what gangs look like.
All I'm gonna say is, and I know this: if Nipsey Hussle could come back today, and just speak on this situation. One of the things I believe that he would say, "I know how the game, and I know how the game go," because that's one of the things he said in his raps when his homies would die. You know how the game go. You know what I mean? How you be cripping all the way up to your 30s.
That's what he said.
And you know what I mean? And you finally lose your life.
Yeah.
You know, I can't quote
Right.
him
That's
exactly.
the
Yeah,
part.
that's what he
That's
said.
the part that I think bothered me the most, because I'm like, okay, you're grown. You're over 30. I really thought he
Yeah.
was actually older than that, which was surprising. Okay, I was like, oh wow, he's like my age, like, and that kind of just made it, where it's like you're settling down, you have a family, like,
Yeah, because
At-
he really wasn't.
He was a good guy.
Banging.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
he
saying?
wasn't-
He's
not that.
and there's a
He was
difference.
a
You know what I'm
good
saying?
guy.
He was a gang member, but he wasn't gang banging. When he was younger, he
But
was gang banging.
Yeah.
And mind you, I'm kind of a little bit like trying to figure out what it is that was. So the determining factor of what you're saying, he's gang at the point when he goes to if you call him a quote unquote, this is allegedly. What happened is he called the guy
A
a snitch,
Mm-hmm.
and that is now he's banging at that point.
Well,
at
No,
that
no, no,
moment.
no,
no, you're not hearing.
Nip is not banging at that point. He's just saying like,
He's
look,
banging on the dude.
Well, to his point, he's being a gang member in the sense where he's saying like, so now as opposed to just Nipsey Hussle, the neighborhood Nip is coming out with I don't fuck with snitches. So that's what he's saying. Like,
you're shady.
He's
Yeah.
no,
Right.
he's no
You
longer.
should not be
well, I'm
around
saying
my
he's taking off.
establishment if you're
yeah,
shady.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you
not
can't.
necessarily like you're
Right.
about to do something to me,
Yeah,
but
but
you're shady and I don't trust
But
you.
but
So
but
you
you're
got
saying
that.
he's taking off
cold
the
thing in
hat
the
of
hood,
being a
cold-
businessman.
Cold thing in the hood. I come from these streets. I come from these Southern California streets. The one thing in the hood, you call somebody a snitch.
Like,
That's
and-
one of the
but,
worst
yeah,
things
like,
you
it-
can call somebody.
And so to
So then that's why I'm confused.
Well,
That's
I think
the-
he's really just saying that you can't get out of it. You get what I'm
Like,
saying? Like,
what-
he was in it. Yes, he was on the come up, but at the same time, if you're still
you can't have one foot in, one foot
he,
out.
he's saying he had,
organizing yourself in that behavior, continuing to interact with those people or whatever, then you're going to naturally, you know what I mean? You're still kind of he wasn't out. He was.
Well, my question
But
is
it's
all right. At that point, if knowing what I know, if you calling this man, if he says to this guy, "You a snitch," then he's expecting, like that's like you ready, like that's at that point when, mind you, right, when you call somebody in the hood or pretty much any hood, not gang or no gang, pretty much if you call somebody, it's pretty much like it's going down. It's not gonna just be a cordial like, oh, this guy left and then he see him, but it's not real. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just that part just kind of
I feel like it's still deferring to like how you would handle it in the streets.
Right.
Like,
so,
but I'm saying
like,
at that point you kind of on a
so that's what he's
you're
saying
at a heightened state of alert
Right.
because of this person.
He should have been more head on the swivel.
But that's what he's saying. He was 1 foot in, one foot out. Because on the 1 foot in, he acknowledged that he was a snitch and he had to leave the store. Now, if he was completely out, I know this nigga's a snitch, but you here to buy something? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you deal with him as a patron. You don't even bring up the fact that he's
as a customer
because it doesn't matter.
But you have no idea what that history is or what happened. If a girl walk into my step, whatever, and I know she did me something or something to one of my friends or whatever, I'm like, nah, you gotta go.
See, that's why
you gotta go.
Right,
you gotta go.
But you gotta go is different than you gotta go because you're a snitch.
I mean, I might say that too.
No,
but it's not worth dying. I get what you're saying. Those are fighting words.
Right.
But you ain't got to come up.
No, but hold on. But you got to understand that's the life they live.
Right.
Yeah.
You're talking about as a regular person.
Right.
Well, I guess in that same scenario, if you knew that she was on some
shady
I'm about
shit.
to come up in here and start some mess, then you may figure how you may handle that situation.
Like, what if he called him a thief? Like, say for instance, somebody's a thief.
Not even so much with the word, but
that's light.
That's
like
a merit.
Okay,
what I'm saying is, you would know how to handle that situation.
That's like flocking. They thieves. You know what I'm saying?
Depending on what was going on, because you might know, like, okay, if she come in here and I say X, Y, and Z, I already know something's about to happen, so I'm prepared for that. Or I might be like, I don't want that to go down right here, so I might handle it in a different way.
It couldn't. Nipsey Hussle is not stupid. It couldn't have been something that he felt like he was gonna come back busting. He couldn't have snapped to the point where he felt like he was gonna come back and kill him.
The worst thing you can call a snitch, a real snitch, is a snitch. That's the worst thing, especially a gang member.
And trust me, this is not the first time I've heard this. But to the point of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If he was 2 feet in, he calls him a snitch, gets mad at him, and say, "Hey, you need to get it away from here," or he deals with him, and then they bounce.
Yeah.
If you call somebody a snitch, you're not gonna stand right
there. You
out there because you know the fighting words you just sent across the table.
So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't too much of a. It couldn't have been so much of a confrontation.
Well, not
to
Nip, but that's why he's saying he's 1 foot in and 1 because he's been a gang member all his life. So now he's this businessman for the last 6 or 7 years, and then the snitch walks in. Well, so he naturally reverts to you a snitch. You know what I'm saying? But then goes back to thinking about everything else. Like he called him a snitch and then tried to deal him like a regular person.
Right.
But all the while, this dude's still a gang member. Right. You know what I'm saying? He's been in and out of jail. He's gonna be. If Nip call you a snitch, where else do you go from there?
Because you pretty
the
much
whole neighborhood.
You get what I'm saying?
Well,
you listen to what the people say. The people are saying that he snitched, so they kicked him out of the gang. So now he's like, I'm already kicked out of the gang. The only family that I honestly I grew up with all these. He grew up with all of them. Mm-hmm. You call me a snitch. You're supposed to be a big voice in it. So I'm really going to show you. And you know what I mean? And he came back. They already said the man been out of mental facility, so he already wasn't 100% there.
Tight, right?
Yeah. So he came back and he opened fire. Unfortunately, and we lost a great one.
But he didn't just open fire. Like
okay, so,
like you said, it was personal. Like
he
came back
and
was kicking him in the head and shooting and walking away and walking back up and shooting and then
but then we got to figure out what exactly what was said. We don't know exactly verbatim.
West Coast Curious say, where you from? That's what it is. I don't know.
You talking about Tommy?
I don't know. I guess they, Tommy.
You see how we are? We want to know. We want to know where people from so we can start placing like specifics.
He like, because if you ain't from my
hood, right, then you don't know.
Yeah.
Like you speaking high over there.
Yeah. I do want to pivot to like you said, what you were saying. We get like we get the scenario of the situation. What I was specifically trying to say is that we are gonna only get through this by loving each other,
right?
And I just want to see how do we go from this hurt and this pain of a black
Promoting.
of a black business mogul that was specifically focused on improving the economics of his home neighborhood. Because I deal with this personally, like
You're not far from there, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm from East Oakland. You know what I'm saying? And
Well, I was talking about where you live currently.
yeah, I'm not far
Like,
from
yeah.
there geographically. Yeah, but I'm saying, yeah, that definitely hurts even more and affects me a lot too being there. But I personally like I'm from East Oakland. I want to always like build and give opportunities to specifically where I'm from. But you know, like I said last week,
But you're also
like
not living there.
People
I'm not living there, and you know, I'm like Drake, like hardly home, but always repping. Meaning like,
But
You
that
know
was
what
the
I'm
difference
saying?
between Nip. He
Yeah.
was home and repping.
and repping.
Most people
You
get
know what I'm
away,
saying?
live in
Yeah.
a better place,
But
and
is
then
that
rep home.
what you know? Like
So-
E40 is doing a lot. You know, for example, as a example, E40 is a business mogul, entrepreneur, and also an artist. But he still lives out in the Bay Area. Maybe not in the same exact place or whatever that he grew up or whatever on the same blocks, kind of like you know. But he's still out there. So how do we
So to me,
how do we get to the
where
next
I-
level and then also get back to where we're from
Yeah, I
specifically?
believe you can still do it.
where I agree with you is that we do have to double down. But if we take, you mentioned COINTELPRO before, and what was the guy's name that they killed when they shot in
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, right? So he, leader, smart, charismatic dude, you know what I'm saying? But there was just him, Martin Luther, and then Malcolm. That's not enough, you know what I'm saying? So if we know they're always killing our black leaders, well, if everybody doubles down on the movement, and if everybody becomes more loving, if everybody gets more educated, if everybody starts educating others, if every rapper is doing such a thing, you can't kill off every black person, because at some point you start to cross, you know, friendly lines, because some black man is making some white man money. You know what I'm saying? If you're killing off everybody, now you're killing off my business, or he's tied into some white man's family. But as long as there's always one, I mean, because we play devil's advocate and we say that what happened to Fred Hampton was a government conspiracy, and then we bring in the fact that he had been in and out of jail, and then that somebody who should be aware, you know, if such a situation gets caught in their own territory, and then usually people shoot, they run because they're afraid of what's happening. You know what I'm saying? I was caught over in their neighborhood the other day, and I just realized, like, you know what? I'm on Crenshaw Onslaught, so let me get up out of here because it's random over here. I feel like everybody, it's like it's Texas over there. Like everybody got a gun, and you never know who's going to shoot you. And this man shoots, and has time to kick him, and nobody.
No, he shot
Yeah.
3 different times.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying. But my point is, nobody.
That was confusing too, but that's a whole different
It
story.
is,
but
but
that's what I'm saying.
nobody-
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I think
we're not going there.
I think we're gonna get more details
Yeah,
as
goes
this
along.
thing
Everything's
progresses.
allegedly right now. Everything's allegedly.
But I would say specifically, I wanted us to just see, like, all right, where we're at now. I personally, as a man, like I said, I personally truly want to. I like Master P kind of said something similar. Like, I ain't messing with y'all no more. Like, all right, you know, y'all,
You
you know,
giving up on the community?
well, it's almost like some
Now you
people,
can't give up.
is kind of feeling that way, and I'm sure even people who ain't saying it, they kind of like, this is why we don't mess with y'all like that. This is why people ain't
Those
listening
people
to
that
us.
were saying it, were they dealing with them in the
So-
first place?
So
Right.
just to kind of pull it back a
You
little
could be
bit,
down, but you ain't gonna. I ain't gonna
to
just
pull
let
it
you be
back
around
and put
me
in
like that.
perspective, right? When we say, or when you say, you're giving up on the community, so you have to really think of the actual people, right? That would need like that love and that
Right.
support and all of that. That I don't really feel is happening. So we're talking about, you know, businesses that are being created, and all of it is, you know, stemming around the money and stuff that people need. But like the problem with our community, specifically the African American community, is the community is hurting, and it's not necessarily financially where it's hurting. Like, we got long standing like pain and suffering that's
heal.
going
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
that needs to heal, mental health, like a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
that's going on that's not being addressed, and we think we can band-aid it with, I'm about to go
Right.
get this money.
Yeah.
And then you get this money and you still need prescription drugs and alcohol and sex and all these other things to try and take your mind off of what you're really dealing with. We're not dealing with a lot of the issues. So you have all these people who make all this money, who have these platforms, who are doing all this stuff, but where is the actual work that's being done for the people that need it the most? You know what I mean? Because that would be the people, and the time to do it. So you're talking about, going to get the education and going to get the information and going to get the knowledge, which is great. But what about those people who can't get the information, who can't get the knowledge? Those are the ones that are literally left back when you talk about people leaving, and going to live in another place. Or those are the ones that are still there, struggling, trying to figure it out because they don't know how to get out. They don't know how to access certain information. So it's not like we have mental health programs. It's not like we have a lot of stuff that socially, like about the social, emotional,
you bridge the gap
things that are going on with
doing.
With art. But I understand that's from the business aspect. I'm really talking more about the other parts, like the internal healing that needs to happen. Like when somebody can do us wrong and our first mind is that negative, like I need to get this person back, versus, this person might really be going through something. They might be dealing with something. They probably need some help. They need it more than I do. If somebody want to take my car, they want to take my money, they need it more than I do. Why do I have to take it as I got to go retaliate? No, they're hurting.
Right.
Let me just do what, you know what I mean? Like, it's a whole different shift in mindset, and that's not how a lot of us were raised, you know what I mean? Because I remember the days of, what she did that to you, you better go back and get her. She hit you, you better go back out there and hit her back, you know what I mean? Like, so it really is a shift.
But to that point, to have the paradigm shift, I'm saying it's incumbent upon our elders to go get the knowledge, make something
Who are
of
the
themselves.
elders?
Us. Once you become 30,
okay,
40,
I'm just making sure
yeah.
that's clear, because you say elders, and some people think like we're talking about
no.
some older people that
50,
right?
60.
Whether you have the knowledge or you have to go get it, once you accrue the knowledge or the experience, you go give back to those that need and understand when things like that happen, and you be the example. The best thing about Nip was that he was the example. I listened to Double Up, right? Mm-hmm. And then But then I listened to his interview with Sway, right? I'm like, dang, it's kind of ironic. That's the exact thing that he was rapping about, and that was another man bridging the gap with Nip, which is how he got the projects that he got started in the hood with the property, sitting at courtside with a Laker game, at the courtside with a Laker game with a dude, black dude. He don't know. All Nip knows, this is a black dude sitting courtside at the Laker game. Mm-hmm. He got some kind of money. He said he ain't talking to him. He ain't talking to him. All right. They get the Hennessy flowing, the drinks flowing. He said by second quarter, everybody's easier to talk to now at that point. And Nip don't know that the dude know who he is, but he don't know who he is. Mm. So he go to explain to him like, oh yeah, I'm Nip. He's like, I know exactly who you are. You know what I'm saying? I have 2 other brothers that are in gang violence. One's dead, one's in jail, whatever. I made it out to Yale, whatever. I'm doing property, but where I do property.
And this is David Gross.
I can't.
This is David Gross.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I want you to come up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And check out some property, whatever. They become business partners. And now Nip is doing the same property that they discussed, whatever, now in the hood. The black guy went, got educated, came back, dealt with white folk, saw somebody, a black man connected to the streets, brought him up, became business partner. That person who's more connected to the streets, who people are going to listen to, now follow him. Mm-hmm. If Nip still lives, there's a lot of people, the thing that I did like was, a lot of people saying, oh, Nip, I started rapping because of you. But I started changing my life because of you. Mm-hmm. I started saving money because of you. You know what I'm saying? I started looking past tomorrow. Right. And then when people start going back to his interviews, it's like, well, dang, this dude's been younger interviews. He's been preaching since he was young. Like whenever he started in the game, he's talking about, well, I don't want to. He's like, yo, you want to come up? He was like, yeah, he's been talking about investing since he's been rapping.
23.
Yes.
And so
this is his first interview. Was talking about investing.
So when the kids see it, they like, oh crap. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that I want to do that looks like me is talking about other things that I didn't think were for me. So to your point,
well, I get that,
but so across all spectrums, then, so not just in the vein of where he is. So,
but let somebody come for that person and their money. You get what I'm saying? You might still have a death on your hands. So what I'm saying is I'm not necessarily talking about the success stories of being able to come out of the hood, or being able to educate yourself, or being able to change your life around. I'm merely talking about the fact that when it comes to our community and it comes to us, you know what I'm saying? Just like I think you mentioned with the post with Diddy, like this is an us issue. You get what I'm saying? Absolutely. And it's not this outsider that's coming in. Like, we have so much division and dissension and just all this stuff. Somebody has to die. People come together. Time passes. We revert back to, you know, I still got to get mine, and I got to do what I got to do, and I got to do this for my family and that. And it's not a lot of camaraderie. You can go into other cultures.
Take a page out of Big U then.
But listen, you can go into other cultures and you'll see more, even though we're not saying that everybody in that culture gets along, you'll see way more community and you'll see way more unity and you'll see way more of them standing together like, no, okay, here's our front. You know what I mean? Like, we can do this, like, just like in your household, right? Like, I can talk about my sister or whatever, but you can't talk about her on the outside, even though we may not get along. It's like when it comes to our community, we don't have that united front. It's like people can come in and infiltrate, and we just break apart and like, ugh.
Well, I was just about to say, as someone that owns a Black-owned business, it's very hard to get, just being Miss Black Hollywood. Literally, Oprah herself was like, why would you name yourself Miss Black Hollywood? Why would you do that? Because you're going to put yourself in a box.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but that's okay. Because when I walk in the door, you already know that I'm talking about diversity. I'm talking about Hollywood. I'm talking about making Black movies, Black TV shows, Black films. And that might not be the coolest thing, but
I
it's
think
crazy.
it is cool.
No, I'm saying that might not be the coolest thing to everybody else.
Right, exactly.
But to me, I feel like and just a history lesson real quick. I just read a book called An Empire of Their Own. It's about how the top 5 Jewish, Russian immigrants came to America and created Hollywood in general. Like, they created Hollywood because the Jewish image was negative.
Right.
So they thought, images is the best way to change the narrative of who we are. So they put
Especially
Jewish people.
Those images was used against them.
Right.
You know.
So they put Jewish people in the role of doctors and lawyers and bankers and everything that they weren't then.
In the image, in film.
Yes. 100 years later, because people hated it at the time.
Right.
But 100 years later, what do we think when we think of Jewish people?
Rich.
Exactly, because
Owning
they were doing
Hollywood.
that. Almost, they own Hollywood. So my mission and part of that is to like create a Hollywood of our own.
Right.
So if we start the work now, which I think Nip was starting the work now.
Right.
I think it's important to start it and then work until you can
Put
until
in
somebody
the images that don't exist out already.
and then
loving brothers.
So you start somewhere.
so you start
Right.
somewhere.
You start somewhere, and
But-
it's not gonna happen overnight. It's no different than investing. Understand that the biggest return is not gonna be probably in my lifetime if I'm with the vision. You know what I'm saying? Like again, taking a page out of Big U, they Pyrus, neighborhoods, 8 Trays, all Hoovers, all have it. Did anybody die at that meeting?
No.
I don't think. And that's
No.
unheard of.
Yeah.
But my thing is this has happened before. We had the Unity,
They unified.
Rodney King,
Yeah.
all the Latasha Harlins. We had, and this is before I was even born. But I do my history and I know my research. So
They came together and made an album.
Yeah,
Y'all remember that?
Everybody came together
that was
before.
that was
the
that
cut.
tape.
Yes.
That tape.
That was
And
it.
this has happened before, but then we
Musa,
find a
Musa.
way to separate again. Like we find a way to separate.
Yeah.
My thing, we just need to stop killing each other. Just stop killing us. You know what I mean?
I think if
Well,
we start with that.
That would start with the guns.
Yeah, us. Diddy just kind of said it today. Shout out to Puff.
Puff.
He was like, us. We got to take care of us, and that's something that I wasn't disagreeing with what you were saying about the gang side of it, but I know being from Oakland is like a situation where we come from a lot of damage. You know what I'm saying? As Black people,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, that we kind of don't really acknowledge. Like even like when I ride around the neighborhood, and sometimes like I drove past Crenshaw High, and like just me driving in a black truck, like kind of like slowing down because I was seeing like kids around, like high school kids just getting food and stuff, and like they all kind of look back, right? And it's because the thing is that we kind of like a lot of us suffer from PTSD, and we kind of just a lot of things like I was talking about being normalized. So a lot of our pain and a lot of our trauma is very normalized that really isn't normal, and we kind of we got like little sayings or catchphrases, like I said, oh, niggas die every day, or little shit that we say to just kind of keep it moving, because like as Black people, we kind of the most resilient people damn near on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been through so much, but we kind of don't realize like how fucked up it is that how traumatic it is to even us to like you and me that we've dealt with him directly
Right.
and see him murdered in that fashion,
Right. It hurt.
in like
It was
in like
awful.
a
It hurt.
in
It
like
hurt.
cold blood.
Oh.
You know, you could say, oh, it's gang violence,
But
but
it's
at
like-
the same time, it's
It's
still
like this, Charles.
like
think
we're
he was
still
jealous.
human. We're
Like-
still human beings.
Right.
You
but
get what I'm
it's like
saying?
this. It's just like this. Like the young man that he asked where am I?
Well, it was a
am I
lady.
from?
It was a
He-
lady.
It
She
was a
said.
lady. Yeah, she was like, "Where am I from?" But that's how it starts. I'm like.
So that's
I'm,
she
I'm-
banged on you
Yeah, like I'm wanting like
on the
like,
cyber,
like,
just on the internet.
but
Back to the
like-
internet.
but
Shout out to
I'm-
the internet.
But if she was African American, I'm one of you. I come from where you come from.
Yeah,
You know,
but
what I mean?
it's a part
Like,
of so
that's where
so
it starts. Where
so
you
I've
from.
been so I went. It's a documentary called Bastards of the Party, and it talks about how we call each other niggas and nigga that nigga this, and then the thing is you in any war scenario when you are going into war, which I have been in a war, you always call the enemy something different to separate them. You know that movie Us and all that stuff. So they're not
Right.
us. They're not one of us. They have to be the tethered. They got to have some kind of. I forget.
Which I
it's like
finally
a-
saw it.
Yeah, it's deep.
Shout out to
And we
Jordan
don't get
Peele.
into that, but it's like that the movie is real deep, but it's the tethered. So any scenario, you got to call them niggas, you got to call them ops, you got to give them some kind of. And this is in real war, like in war. Unfortunately, you call them jabs, whatever. You call people different names to allow yourself to see this person differently than you. So now you're not my brother. You're not. And Ambassadors of the Party, it kind of it's a documentary on Netflix and they got it on YouTube too. But they kind of break it down into the gang culture, and you be like, yeah, let's go ride on these niggas. Let's go take these niggas out. Let's go do to these niggas, to those niggas, to them niggas. You know what I'm saying? You don't say it.
Right.
You don't say, oh, my brother, my
Right.
black man, my son. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
if you did,
Right.
you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Because if you did, you
I
wouldn't
got,
do it.
I got one story, and I don't want to get off topic, but I have a friend. He got shot. He was in a gang. He got shot by somebody within his gang, paralyzed him from the waist down. He's paralyzed to this day. And his mother, they're in the hospital. His mother's trying to get him to tell. He's not telling. Then I never forget his mother was asleep, and another one of my friends had told him. He was like, he looked at me and said, "Hey, you know this what you chose, right? Like basically tell him like you know what it is, right?" And he looked at me and said, "Yup." You know what I mean? And in my head it messed me up. Like you're hurting. You're gonna be like this for the rest of your life. But you choose. But then I also had to think about it. You made that choice. You understand what I'm saying?
But think about it. You made that choice.
I don't
because
feel like
you
a
feel-
choice.
No, but listen,
I'm not
listen.
talking.
That's-
No.
But listen, you made that choice considering what you had as options or the future that you had that
Right.
was right in front of you.
Right.
At that
So that's
time.
the part that
What was
bothers
the options
me.
he had?
But what I'm saying is, there's death in life, right? That you can
Well,
choose.
you don't know. I'm saying
No.
you say he had
No,
options, but we don't know the options.
No,
What
I
I'm-
know the option when he said you chose his life. He was referring. You chose his life when you joined this gang.
What I'm
That
saying
was
is
the
what
option that
was
he
the
was
option
saying.
of
But
what
what
was
I-
You have to join
what
the
was
gang.
the
That's
gang?
what he was
What was the
telling them.
non-gang option?
But listen,
That's what I'm
listen,
trying
Charles.
to say.
This is the point that I'm saying. That's the deep part to me. The reality that if you have metaphorically death and life in front of you to choose, and you choose death because you feel like death is the best option. You get what I'm saying? That goes to show you just how much, like when you talk about the pain and suffering that he's in, how much our community is hurting. Because there are people who literally will choose. I know I could do this. I can probably choose this better road. I can get out of this. I can do that. But I don't want that.
Yeah.
I rather choose this.
But
You get what
let's-
I'm saying?
Just like in the Us scenario, which you know the tether, and it's made like almost 100 million in the box office. So if you ain't seen it, whatever.
I gotta go check
But
it out still.
but like the main person, you think that you think this person is the bad person, but reality is once you get to see their other options of what they had in their life, you don't see them as a bad person as much. Does that make sense? Where it's
It
like
changes the perspective.
it changes
Right,
once your
right.
perspective
It gives you
changes.
understanding.
Once your perspective changes, you're like, oh snap! Like
I
this
can do
person,
something else.
this person was this evil person and out to harm people, but they're just literally just sitting there trying, like desperately trying to make a better life for themselves as
Right.
well.
Well, it's similar to if you travel to other countries, right? and we look at other people's lives and we're like, oh, they're like, you know, they're poor and they're not happy and all this stuff. And like, and if you speak with some of the locals, and because I love when I travel, I like to go where the locals go, not always on the resorts and all of that. And you talk to them, and some of them are just extremely happy with what they have. You know what I mean? They don't need all the extras and the fluff, right? That we're used to. Like, nah, I'm gonna need this and I need that, and I gotta have all my running water and all. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they don't need all those things. But we assume that, okay, you're not happy and you probably need more, and you know, you're living just this terrible life because of what you don't have. You get what I mean? So there is varying perspectives, but at the end of the day, they may still have the fundamental things that are most important when it comes to the values of I do have food to eat. I have my family here. I have shelter. I have everything that I need. I don't have to worry about.
But you know what it is, though? Because they're not flashed with the jewelry, and it's a little chain, but they're not flashed with the jewelry and the cars. I remember being in high school. If I could go back to high school, and all I had to do was play sports and go to school. But you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to play sports, go to school, and make money. Because I want to make money. See, but the thing about it is, if money didn't, let's say money didn't exist, you know how much better life would be for all of us. Because we like what really would we have?
How was you gonna get girls, man?
I hear what you're saying, but that's the problem that
he'll
we're
get
so
girls based on his looks and his
based
character. And
well, that's what I'm saying. How are you gonna get girls now?
I do want to say something really quick, just to piggyback off of what you all have been saying. I think with the Black community, if you make a Nipsey challenge for your life, or you sign up to work with or for the community, it is a decision, and it's going to be a very hard decision based on hurt, based on the pain, based on the hate that we have for ourselves and our communities. The fact that when you go in and talk to your people about business, they're going to look at you like, what you trying to steal from me? Or we'll go and give somebody else money that, you know what I mean? So it's like they look at me and they like, she just trying to scam me. I'm like, it's $20. Right. But you'll go spend $20 with somebody white in a second.
Right.
And won't think about it. So I just think if you're signing up, you just have to know what you're signing up for. And it's really, I mean, to me, it's life or death, and just kind of in the way that it happened for Nipsey. Like, you sign up for it, and you just have to take whatever comes along with that. The hate, understanding that you might not see things realized.
So did you grew up where you grew up
in New Orleans?
In New Orleans, right? All right, so
Pittsburgh, New Orleans.
So if you say for instance you open up a business back home right now, and just being that you've been in Hollywood all this time, people would see you differently, right? And so how would you be like received in your own like hometown blocks and all that stuff? You get what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we definitely want to take some stuff back to the community. After Hurricane Katrina happened, I was one of those people that was like, let me go and get the education, right? Let me learn everything I can in this city and then take it back to the hood. You know, I mean, people they admire what I'm doing. And I think,
and they probably see you probably bigger than you probably are at this moment. You know what I mean? As they see you like as they're like, oh my God, like you're you're just doing a bit. So what I'm saying is by them,
we doing a bit.
But I'm not you know, look, I you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to say that you're not doing your thing, but I'm saying it's so meaning like I know I'm just asking you this because I kind of know how it is to go back home too, and it's like. You would have thought I was living in Beverly Hills at Diddy House or something, right? But I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Just to be clear. But when you go home, they kind of see you in that way. Yeah. And so because of that, they might think, oh, could you do this? Could you do that? Could you give me a job? Yep. And they might not have the skills. They might have the ability, whatever. So it's like, when you go home, say, for instance, you went home and did the same thing, like with people... you could probably see yourself experiencing a level of like animosity or hate from people that's like supposed to be your biggest like fans and supporters.
I mean, should I get that from my family? Right? So like,
it's not, your friends and your community. It's your community.
I'm saying friends, family, mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter where it comes
Right,
from.
right.
It just comes. People see you doing your thing, and they project the things that they wanted to do with their lives
Right.
onto you. And so I think that there was some jealousy. The fact that the guy told Nipsey
Oh, it
that he was
definitely
a
was,
rapper as well, like
Yeah.
there was all kind of hate.
We
in
gotta.
his heart for this
I'm not
dude.
saying that. Everything's allegedly right now.
That
I
was-
really don't
Allegedly.
know.
I'm just
There's nothing
saying.
allegedly
but
about him
this
shooting.
will
just
him.
be
based on-
right. This will be my Nipsey.
Oh, sorry.
This will be my Nipsey challenge.
No, I mean, I really meant to do it.
Shut
so
up.
we reached the end of the show, so I just want to give everybody an opportunity. Keep your headphones on. We ain't done yet. I want to give everybody an opportunity to give your final comments and final remarks. So we will start with. She's like, I'm not
last.
ready.
We'll start with good.
But no, you're still gonna do
We
your
gotta
thing
do the-
anyway.
you
So
gotta
we're
do
gonna
the
start with
end.
you.
No,
I mean,
I
you
thought
still
you
gotta do his
Oh, you
poetic
gonna do
moment.
it.
I'm
You
still
gonna
gonna do it.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, starting with you, Detroit,
Again.
and I'm gonna stop the music so we can hear you clearly.
Shoes. He sounded like he about to do a poem.
Right already.
No.
Not yet, brother. I got
Again.
you.
No, but along the
I
lines
got
of
you again.
what I was saying, I think we should double down. And you come back by moving forward and pushing towards your dreams. You know, the man became great because of what he did, what he believed in, and anything you great at will manifest you as in greatness in that, you know, in your own lane. We got to support, you know what I'm saying? Educate ourselves and understand that if this ain't the first time it's happened, it can happen again. If we know what to expect, we can, you know, guard against our future. And so, just got to love one another, man.
Hey,
Tommy.
Well,
Tommy.
Personally, this will be my Nipsey challenge. If I had to start one, let's stop grandmas from crying. Let's stop mamas from crying, brothers, whatever. Let's stop killing each other.
well, let's.
So
do-
what can you
yeah,
do
Let's, yeah,
Huh?
let's
in
do
your
it, yeah.
own, what can you do in your
Like
own
personally, like-
ability?
What I do personally because
Uh-huh.
because I do come
Like,
from these streets.
buy-
and I do
buy- buy some
and,
property or
and,
something?
and I do. It's not even that's a buying property or whatever. It's
That
just
helps.
it's just more like we all need to somehow develop a mindset that we're together. We're together, and I'm gonna say this story and I'm gonna pass it along. But I was driving, and never forget, this was just last year. I was driving in my car, listening to Jay-Z and Beyonce's new album. I had a Malcolm X hat on. I turned to my left, I see 3 black males in an SUV. You know what I mean? I just look at them, you know, they're looking at me, I look at them. And, you know what I mean? The green light comes, so I go. Next thing I know, they get behind me. And I'm driving, like, what's going on? They're chasing me. You know, like they're literally, I'm hitting the gas. And they keep speeding up, hitting the gas. It wasn't for a police car coming right here. They end up skirting off. But they were literally following me at least 3 blocks.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know, like, really? You know what I mean? Like, I had a Malcolm X hat on. Like, that's unity. Like, I'm you. We're
Yeah,
together. You know
yeah.
what I mean? But it is what it is. So.
They saw you as the ops,
All
which
skin folk ain't
unfortunately,
kinfolk. Everybody ain't your friend.
yeah. And I do want to hear that challenge, the aspect. I think you maybe could have like a just in the future have an action
Right.
that you could tangibly do, and then people will follow it. But here goes what I'll say. 2 things. So the challenge aspect of it is I feel like I'm inspired by his entrepreneurship and also real estate prowess as far as like business, black-owned business. I'm inspired. It just came, like I said, from my boy Ant Rose, you know, shoot today. And last 2 shoots that I did at the NAACP Awards and this last shoot I just did was just 100% like black production, or really a large percent, not say 100%, but. And it was just like, I felt like I told him I was in Wakanda or something, because we were production, but we were all black people, you know, and that's important to me, saying that we're not just like on camera singing, dancing talent, you know what I'm saying? We get on the computer and get busy, or we can get behind the camera and turn up, or we could direct, or we could produce, or whatever. And I like that aspect of it, and I like working with black people. I like telling our stories. I like showing us in a whole new light. So I want to do more of that, and I want to buy more. And then with Miss Black Hollywood, I want to bring her back. We got way more conversations to have with her. And one, you know, she's actually had interactions with R. Kelly, experiences that her own story that she could tell from her perspective. She got a whole different perspective. But I'm just saying that's a little, like, you know, cliffhanger. That's a little cliffhanger. So just say, yeah.
a connection to our first show when we came back.
Yeah. But we gonna
welcoming back.
we gonna
Love
revisit. We
Amplified.
gonna revisit topics. So she got a lot of different experiences that she's experienced in this town, and as all of us have. But so definitely appreciate you coming through, pulling up on us, and pass it to you for your final word.
One of my goals, has always been to bring things back to my people using what I know, right? So that's production, that's producing, that's whatever it is that I'm doing. Anything that has to do with, we have an online magazine, we have a television network, we've created these small things. I mean, they're smaller in comparison to, other people, but we still have a nice pipeline. We have access to millions of Black people through some of our distributors. So, like, my goal, I guess, would be just to keep creating and just getting out in these streets and just being a little bit more focused about not letting people come in and say, well, you shouldn't do all that for Black people. It's more lucrative if you don't work for Black people. Make it multicultural, because I hear that shit all the time. Now, I don't turn white people away when they come into the office, because that would be crazy.
Right. And you're not going to turn money.
And it's crazy because white people come into the office. When I first opened it, even though we were like the Real Network, helping Black creatives find opportunities, all of that, 90% of the people that came in the office were white. And came in and supported and showed up on time. And then
niggas gonna read.
Oh, see? So I guess what I would say is just to keep that going and just try to, if try to at least strive to help, 100,000 Black people in the next year, in one way or another.
You said how many?
100,000.
Whoa!
And what's really cool even about that, and just
follow me on Instagram.
Because again, it's not just, and there are a lot of people who are doing stuff that are not getting recognition or highlighted for what they're doing. But there are people who are out there creating businesses, creating jobs. And the other part of it is just kind of recreating our narrative, as a community. And because when I was out in Atlanta, and so I went over to the King Center, and even just just looking at just how our communities were, and it's like when was that point where we all decided as a community to say, you know what, we're not going to support each other anymore, and we're going to go to these other businesses.
Segregation, the end of
you know
segregation.
What I mean? Because what I'm saying is
integration,
right?
It's
You get what I'm saying? So it was like, but there was a time where we were shopping at our own stores.
We had to.
Banking, yes, we had to, but we still have to. But
you get what I'm saying?
We still have to.
Yes.
And we still should want
to. Once we got the other side, we was like, ooh, we like our, but then we started.
But did we?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because at the same time, it was a breakdown.
So no
and
benefit.
now
it benefited them and it hurt us.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a community,
exactly.
Sure.
And so, and I feel like, and that's kind of where we're continuing in that fashion and still feeding, those things that naturally we're feeding into our own stereotypes. Like you said, like you're leery of businesses. You're like, oh, why you gotta charge $50 for that hoodie when I can go get this hoodie over here for $25? I'd rather, you know what I mean? Always looking for kind of like the easy way. But I guess my final thoughts are just really just us being more loving overall, and that would include, I think you mentioned it, if you did say my brother, or if you use those terms of endearment, you would think twice. And so that might be, something that we can all, take on too, is just, like we got to start changing our language.
Kings, queens,
we
brothers,
really have
sisters,
to start changing
princess.
our language and the things that are coming out of our mouth. And that might change your reaction, your behavior, to it. Because again, as long as you can give it a label and you can make it seem like it's something other than you, then you can justify why whatever that behavior towards it is okay. But as long as it's that endearing and loving type of thing, you're like, oh no, I can't touch that.
But niggas exist.
Yeah,
niggas exist, and I mean that in an ignorant sense.
No,
niggas exist.
But those
Black
are
people.
But those are the ones.
And I'm scared around niggas.
But those are the ones that need the most love. You get what I'm saying?
They do need love.
Because those.
But
are
they
the
might
ones,
shoot you though.
This is true. But then, like you said, the work that we do and part of that challenge, and then I guess when you really think about it, those people who are like, you know what? Well, I know, not in the gang sense, but I know that in going into this work, that I actually might lose my. If I go into this territory where these people might not receive me, I understand that with my going to show and give this love and help these people that I really might lose myself in the work. I mean, lose my life literally in the work.
And how
Am
do
I
we
willing
get
to do that? Am
beyond-
I willing
beyond
to
the
lay
hurt?
down my life?
Like, how do we get
right?
beyond the hurt?
Am I willing
That's
to
the
lay
question.
down my
Step in
life
front of it,
for
man.
my brother?
I mean, Martin Luther
Or
King was
sister.
like, I think Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of them knew
Yes.
that's the game that they chose. That's
Right.
the right.
Exactly.
That's
So
the
you just
decision.
still- yeah.
Especially
So
Malcolm
you
X.
make
That,
the
that day.
decision. Yeah.
That day he knew. He
To
said, I want
say
no security.
Somebody
Yeah.
else's life is going to be, saving somebody else's life is
Oh.
worth the work and the life that I'm living.
Yeah.
Right.
So even if I lose it in this sense, I'm not losing it. I'm gaining it because somebody else will win, and then the work will continue on.
Can I say this real quick?
Mhm.
If Nipsey Hussle, if the world can change, I think Nipsey served his purpose. If this could be a changing moment,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think he did regardless.
I don't
definitely
understand.
did.
I
And
hear
that
what
the
you're
work
saying,
has
but
started.
yeah, but
Or
continuing.
I feel if we could really if this can really come together
Yeah.
and strap up, he served his
But
purpose.
not with
Yeah.
guns.
Shout out to the Nation of
No
Islam.
strapping with guns.
You know,
Yeah.
I saw the Nation of Islam marching,
Yeah.
and the women and the kings and queens of the Nation of Islam marching
Yes.
around. And I'm about to repost it, but I love that energy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive energy of people waking up, meaning like, all right, we as a people have to step up. We have to raise the bar. You know what I'm saying? And we do. And there was like how this went down. It shouldn't have even have been. It shouldn't have been able to go down like that. Like for who Nipsey is, even if somebody wanted to set out their time and do that,
Right.
like it shouldn't have, like if he did go out that way, he shouldn't have made it out of that complex. You get what I'm saying? Like if he would, whatever. All I'm saying is we got to step up, and I think that the energy that he is bringing from his passing is that we are as a people gonna have to
We are
all
one.
step up. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
All right.
it's more effective. I know we gotta go. It's more effective for him to not be alive right at this moment if it's going to change the
That's true.
landscape of the community. It's just
I pray
Right.
that it will.
because if he stayed alive, then at like
Right.
40, it would
Right.
have been like they shitting on him. You know?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Somebody else would have died.
Yeah.
So we had 2 rounds of final comments, but that's okay because we had a lot to say, and
Yeah.
Detroit is gonna take us out in his poetic moment. So if you're ready,
Go ahead, brother.
here we go.
Yeah, I was in here going.
Going.
Okay, so that was something. But anyway, to be in the gang is to know the job. To hustle hard, work. The jobs will be honored. Use terms of endearment so the white man see a black and they won't fear him. Stick together. Take care of us. Because if we don't, why should they give a fuck? Love and healing comes with love and happiness. It sucks, but I hope its actual work can be respected over time we digest. Pac was thug life. Nip did it the thug's way. Take your victory lap, young man, because you did it the hustle way. Let's unite like the recent Bloods and Crips. We are more than athlete gangs and self-killers. We built the irrigation system and the pyramids in Egypt. Life does go on. And in your span, you did all you could do. To each its own, so in our own way, we will honor you. The marathon will continue. If we can change this culture, Nipsey's head will be on high. Let's Nipsey's legacy marathon be worth more him dead than he was alive.
That's right.